the first question that people always want to know is sort of, what's it like when the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I mean, I think it's actually fun just to talk about just partly just because we don't ever get a chance to do this usually. Get a phone call at that time in the morning and actually have it be good news, right? I mean, it's usually what, 2:45 in the morning. And I think it's also one of the real reasons to be a faculty member and do your research in California, at Berkeley, because you get these dramatic times for the phone call. So at 2:45 in the morning, the phone rang, and I sort of reached over, and I vaguely thought it was already the morning. I didn't realize it was the middle of the night, and I sort of picked up the phone. I sort of noticed the time just as I said hello, and the person on the other end said, "Hello, is this Saul Perlmutter?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "How do you feel?" And fine. Yes, fine. Thanks, but why do you ask? And it was a reporter from the Swedish radio, and I don't think that call. The very next call, when they called, I actually was live on the radio, which I didn't know. And apparently I hadn't been called by the Nobel Committee to tell me that I won the prize because they had a wrong phone number. Apparently they were calling, I think, an old fax number or something that didn't work. They eventually gave up on that, and they reached one of my close colleagues in Stockholm, and he was having lunch with some other colleagues at the university, and they said, "Okay, you can't say anything, but tell us what's Saul's number." And so he had to sit there for the rest of lunch without telling his colleagues that he was really excited, and they got the wrong number from him too. He was flustered, and he forgot that he had several phone numbers in his old phone numbers of mine as well as my current one in his cell phone. And so somewhere in Berkeley, there was a cell phone ringing, and if somebody had picked it up, they could have won the Nobel Prize. Anyway, so then by halfway through the phone call, the first phone call, my wife Laura over there had grabbed the iPad next to the bed and checked to see that it wasn't just a hoax. And realized that it really was the Nobel Prize. And so, after a few moments of reflection after getting off the phone, we realized, okay, I guess it's 2:45 in the morning, but I don't think we're going back to bed. And so I figured, okay, why don't I get up, shower, shave, and get dressed, and which was probably just as well, because within half an hour, or so, there was the line of news vans outside the house with bright lights and everything. And first, the people from the university show up, actually, the press office. People come from the university and also from the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, and they start herding the press. And I tried to keep it a little bit quiet because my daughter, who's also over there, was sleeping in the back of the house. So I thought, well, why don't I'll just do the interviews out in the front porch, and try to keep everybody out of the house. And that lasted for a little while, but fairly soon there's enough people in the house, including just the people from the press office at the university, that she eventually woke up and came down to say hello, and asked what was going on. So anyway, that was the beginning of the day, and it ended up being just one of these an amazing day, because we were able to have these press conferences, but also these sort of celebrations at the university. And Francis mentioned that we were able to get. Just because we were here in Berkeley, we had like 6 or 7 people who were really intimately involved in doing this work, and we had them, and we had an event where they all just lined up in chairs, and we just went through everybody's memories of what we'd all been doing for the past 10 years, and I don't think you could have done this anyplace else. So it was, Berkeley had both of the 2 teams that made the discovery. They were both at Berkeley at the moment that they were doing the work. One was sort of down the hill, the other was up the hill, and it was clearly, as I was saying, it was sort of the Berkeley view of the cosmos by the end of that particular episode. So anyway, that was the first impression, if that's a good start.
Saul comes from has a wonderful family here in Berkeley, but in addition, the day after, I guess, that the announcement came, we had a dinner at University House, which my wife and I hosted for Saul, his friends, and his parents flew in all the way from Philadelphia. He comes from a wonderful academic family, extraordinarily charming, wonderful people. You can see where Saul came from. But his mother, and they're very modest people, but his mother admitted that on the airplane she just couldn't control herself. She had to tell the people, and I I'm coming to San Francisco because my son just won the Nobel Prize. I don't know if they gave her a free drink.
I can report that another one is really fun to get. But if it's fun, if it's fun for kids, I mean, it's even better for the parents. So the people who Nobel Prizes are designed for are your parents. It's just a great time.
So the Nobel Prize ceremony website, if you go to the website of the Nobel Prize, which everyone can do, then you'll see they have a tab called Magical Week. And so tell us about Magical Week, what it's like in Stockholm.
So there's all that excitement that just that first day, where this big flurry of activity and all the press and you have all these phone calls and that sort of thing. But then you realize that actually now you're in for preparing for this huge activity that they do. It's a little more than a week, like 8 days in Stockholm, and it's held in the beginning of December. And in some sense, I guess Sweden is really focused on this as one of their major contributions to the world, which is to provide this platform for people to see these discoveries in all these different areas of science and literature and of course the Peace Prize, and they just take it very, very seriously. So the week is set up with, well, first of all, they have royalty, they have castles, they know how to use them, and they really go to town on the whole thing. So you arrive at the very beginning of the week. We arrive in first class seats that they sent us, and you start getting off the airplane and discover that you can't make it up the jetway before you're intercepted by the welcoming committee, who's the president of the Swedish Academy of Sciences and a few others, and they whisk you down the staircase from the jetway. Now I think as somebody who travels a lot, and I think many people here probably do travel a lot, the one part of traveling that's not your favorite part is the part of getting off after a long flight and then standing in line for customs and getting your luggage. And so this is probably the best part of the whole week. You get pulled off, and you walk out. They take you down the steps to the tarmac, and there's your limousine, the special Nobel sedan that has the Nobel insignia on it, and it's your sedan for the week, and your driver. And your attendant is there too, welcoming you. And then they whisk you over to this VIP section, and they welcome you while they take your passports and go off and get your luggage and and take care of everything for you. And there's the welcoming committee of the managers of the hotel and the main staff all standing outside from the hotel, welcoming you in when you arrive. I'm at the Grand Hotel, which is one of these amazing 19th century palaces in its field. And so the whole thing just begins with that tone, and it continues from there. So it's event after event of these receptions and these balls and these entertainment, and then of course you're part of the entertainment. So you're expected to be you give your Nobel lecture about halfway through the week. You're constantly interviewed. You're on these various television programs that they do, and all week. In Sweden, they're actually broadcasting these programs about all the Nobel laureates and all the work, so people recognize you in the street, and you can't walk out the door without a throng of autograph people staying outside and waiting for you. My daughter and I went shopping, and we got stopped various points and just on the street by people. I mean, in some sense, it's wonderful. You see what it's like to be famous. And then you get to go home again. So I think it's sort of the best of both worlds, right? You really wouldn't want to go do this for much more than a week, but it's an amazing this sort of fairy tale activity for a week, and it's really heightened in its fairy tale aspect by the fact that they organize these events, which I've only read about in fairy tales, like these gigantic ball and banquets for 1,300 people with there's a long main table with the royalty and from around Europe. Other royalty shows up as well, and then the prime ministers and everybody's on this table. You enter these kinds of banquets by being lined up and given a partner who men and women, and they escort each other in to the table. There's gigantic seating charts that they hand you, which sort of go on for several pages.